Welcome to the world of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening.
Tom wiped the grease from his hands as he looked out of the viewport. The gleaming expanse of the station spread before him, a sprawling network of commerce, thrumming with alien dialects and the hum of starship engines. His shift at the docks was over, and the allure of something other than cold metal and circuitry beckoned. "Heading out to Zyra's tonight?" asked Nils, his colleague and bunkmate, as he stowed away his tools. "Yeah, figured I might as well," Tom replied, locking his toolbox. "Care to join?" "Sure." Nils shrugged, a slight smile breaking his usually stoic demeanor. "Could use a little distraction." The walk to Zyra's orbit took them through bustling market zones and residential blocks, showcasing the station's diverse inhabitants. As they approached the club, the neon lights grew brighter, and the bass of exotic music pulsed through the air. Inside, Zyra's orbit was alive with energy. Beings from various star systems mingled, their unique forms a testament to the galaxy's diversity. The main stage was a flurry of motion and color, but it was Lyri, the club's star performer, who captured the room's attention as she took the stage. Lyri's movements were fluid and hypnotic, her body shimmering with bioluminescent tattoos. The crowd was entranced, but it was Tom she noticed, the quiet human trying to appear indifferent. She couldn't help but be intrigued. After her performance, she approached the bar where Tom and Nils sat, grabbing 2 drinks before joining them. "Is this seat taken?" Lyri asked, her voice melodic, yet carrying an alluring accent. No, go ahead," Tom said, a bit flustered, moving over to make space. Nils nudged him with a smirk, then turned to Lyri. "That was quite the show. Do you come with the stage, or can patrons get a performance at the bar too?" Lyri laughed, a sound like the tinkling of glass. "I'm off the clock now, but I'm curious about your kind. We don't get many humans here. What brought you out this far?" Tom asked, finding his voice. "Adventure. Opportunity. Perhaps the same reasons you're here?" Lyri speculated, taking a sip of her drink. "Just work. For me," Tom admitted. "I fix ships, but it's more riveting watching you." Lyri's eyes glinted with amusement. "I think I want to make you my human plaything," she teased, leaning in close enough for Tom to catch a hint of her exotic scent. Nils coughed awkwardly, realizing his presence might be third-wheeling. "I'll leave you two to chat. Enjoy the evening, Tom." With Nils gone, a quiet settled between them, filled only by the ambient noise of the club. "So, what's it like, working on ships all day?" Lyri asked, genuinely curious. "It's routine. Repairs, diagnostics. It doesn't hold a candle to what you do, though," Tom responded, his gaze fixed on her, intrigued by her interest. "Maybe, but I bet you have stories." "I love stories. They tell so much about a person," Lyri mused. Tom chuckled. "Most of my stories involve nuts and bolts. Not as exciting as interstellar travel and meeting new species, but that's just it." Lyri leaned in, her tone earnest. "Every job, every person here, contributes to this melting pot of cultures and stories. It's beautiful, don't you think?" Tom nodded, struck by her perspective. "Yeah, I suppose when you put it like that, even a mechanic has his place in the cosmos." "Exactly," Lyri exclaimed, delighted. "See, you're not just a mechanic. You're an adventurer in your own right." Their conversation drifted from space travel to dreams, the stars above them no longer just points of light, but destinations with stories waiting to be told. As the club's lights dimmed further, the space between them felt charged, promising the start of something new and entirely unforeseen. Tom couldn't shake the memory of Lyri from his mind all week. Each spark from his welder seemed to flash her luminescent skin, and the hum of the engines echoed her laughter. By the time his shift ended on Friday, his decision was made. He was going back to Zyra's orbit, and he was going to see her again. "Back to the club, huh?" Nils commented as they changed out of their work gear. "Didn't take you for the type to fall for a stripper, especially an alien one." "It's not like that," Tom defended, though his cheeks warmed. "She's different. It's interesting to talk to her." "Interesting, sure," Nils chuckled, clapping him on the shoulder. Well, let's see how interesting it gets tonight. The club was bustling as usual when they arrived. The pulsing lights and thrumming music created an otherworldly atmosphere that now felt strangely familiar to Tom. He scanned the crowd, searching. There you are. Leary's voice rang out before she appeared through the throng, a bright smile on her face. She wore less glitter tonight, but her presence was no less striking. You came back, she observed, settling next to him at the bar. I did. I told you. I was interested, Tom replied, his nerves settling. Nils ordered drinks for them, winking at Tom. I'll find my own interesting company. Don't wait up, he said before disappearing into the crowd. With Nils gone, Leary turned more fully to Tom. So, what is it that has you so intrigued? She inquired, her tone playful yet sincere. Tom took a moment, choosing his words. I guess I'm just curious about you. About how someone from another world sees things here. Sees us. That's a big question, Leary mused, swirling her drink. But I like it. I see a lot of beauty in the diversity here, and a lot of loneliness too. Many come to the station to escape, to find something new, just like me. Is that what brought you here? Escape? Tom asked. In a way, she admitted, but also a search for connection. My world is very different from this. Here, I meet beings from all corners of the galaxy. It's exhilarating. And what about connections? Have you found what you were looking for? Tom probed, leaning closer. Leary met his gaze, her eyes reflecting the neon lights. Maybe, she said softly, connections can be surprising. They can start with curiosity and lead to more. Tom felt the air between them charge, his heart quickening. Maybe we're looking for the same thing then. Perhaps we are, Leary agreed, her hand finding his. Tell me, what is it like to grow up human? What dreams do you carry from your blue planet? Tom laughed lightly, the tension easing as he shared stories of Earth, of green fields and vast oceans, so different from the metallic station orbiting a distant star. Leary listened intently, her fascination clear. As the night deepened, they moved to a quieter corner, their conversation turning from their worlds to themselves, their hopes and fears laid bare under the synthetic stars. You make it easy to forget where I am, Tom confessed, feeling as though the universe had shrunk to just the two of them. That's a good thing, I hope, Leary said, her voice lower, tinged with a hint of something Tom dared hope was affection. It is, Tom assured her, his hand squeezing hers. I never thought I'd find this kind of connection here, in the vastness of space. Leary leaned in, her breath a whisper against his ear. Space is vast, but connections are what fill it. Perhaps, together, we can fill it with something beautiful. Tom nodded, the possibility hanging between them like a star ready to be born, their connection a gravity all its own, pulling them inevitably closer. The space station hummed with the energy of countless species and ships coming and going. But inside Tom's cramped quarters, the universe seemed to pause, focusing entirely on the moment Leary crossed the threshold. I've never been in a human's living space before, Leary said as she stepped inside, her eyes scanning the small, utilitarian room with genuine curiosity. It's not much, Tom admitted, feeling a mix of embarrassment and excitement. But it's home. Leary smiled warmly, making the small room seem somehow larger. It feels welcoming, she assured him, settling onto the offered chair like it was a throne in a grand palace. Tom joined her, sitting across on his bed, which doubled as a sofa. I wanted to show you something from Earth, he said, retrieving a small, battered book from a shelf. It's a collection of poems. I think you might like the imagery, the oceans, the forests. Thank you, Tom. I treasure this chance to learn more about where you come from, Leary said, taking the book delicately. As she flipped through the pages, her fingers brushed his, sending a spark through the air. They shared a look, a silent acknowledgement of the growing connection between them. Clearing his throat, Tom shifted the topic. So, how about you? What was it like growing up on your planet? Leary's eyes lit up, the topic a bridge to her world. It's very different from Earth. We have vast skies that change color with the mood of the planet. I used to lie on the high cliffs overlooking the sea of clouds, watching the sky dance in a riot of colors. That sounds beautiful, Tom murmured, picturing the scene in his mind. It is, Leary agreed. But it's also a lonely place. My people are not numerous, and we live far apart. That's one reason I left. I was searching for more. Do you miss it? Tom asked, leaning in, drawn into her story. Sometimes, she confessed. But I found new skies to watch here, and new friends. Her gaze held his, meaningful. The room fell silent, the buzz of the station beyond the walls a faint whisper compared to the intensity inside. Tom took a deep breath, then offered, "Would you like to try some human cuisine? I could attempt to cook something for you." Leary's laugh was musical, delightful. "I would love that. Cooking is not something I've had much chance to explore." In the small kitchenette, they moved together, Tom showing Leary how to prepare a simple earth dish. As they chopped vegetables and heated the pan, their arms brushed occasionally, each touch lingering a little longer than necessary. "You're a good teacher," Leary said, her hand guiding his to stir the mixture. "And you're a fast learner," Tom replied, his usual reserve melting away in her presence. As they ate, the conversation deepened, touching on dreams and desires, the food a medium for sharing their inner worlds. "What do you dream of finding out here?" Tom asked, his voice low. "Connection, understanding, maybe even love," Leary answered softly, her hand reaching across the table to cover his. "What about you, Tom?" "Much the same," Tom said, feeling the weight of her hand like an anchor in the vastness of space. "Before I met you, I didn't know what I was missing. Now, I can't imagine not having this. Whatever this is." Leary squeezed his hand, her smile gentle. "Let's find out together," she proposed. Their meal finished, they cleared up side by side, the domesticity surprisingly comfortable. As Leary prepared to leave, Tom found himself not wanting the night to end. "Stay," he blurted out, the word hanging between them like a star ready to fall. Leary paused, her expression thoughtful, then nodded. "Yes, I'll stay." And as the door closed, sealing them away from the universe, the stars outside seemed to align, reflecting the cosmic connection that had formed, unspoken but palpable, between two souls from different worlds. The following morning, the station buzzed with its usual flurry of activity, but for Tom and Leary, it felt as though they were exploring it together for the first time. "Have you ever been to the Zero-G Gardens here?" Tom asked as they wandered through the vibrant market district, his arm brushing against Leary's. "No, I haven't." "It sounds intriguing," Leary replied, her eyes bright with curiosity. "It's one of my favorite spots on the station. It's like a piece of Earth, but with a twist," Tom said, leading the way. They passed stalls selling exotic foods and handmade goods from dozens of planets, each vendor flaunting a rainbow of colors and textures. Arriving at the gardens, they found themselves surrounded by floating plant life and flowers that drifted gently in the artificial gravity. Tom reached out to steady a drifting fern, letting it glide softly through his fingers. "It's beautiful," Leary murmured, reaching out to a bloom that spun slowly in the air. "It's so different yet familiar." They shared a smile, their hands meeting in the air among the floating flora. As they moved through the garden, their conversation drifted to lighter topics. "What was the most unusual job you had before this?" Leary asked, her voice tinged with amusement as they watched a pair of Garidian children chasing each other, their laughter echoing in the humid air. Tom chuckled, remembering his less-than-glamorous past roles. "I once worked as a dishwasher at a restaurant that served over 50 species. Let's just say not all alien food scraps are pleasant." Leary laughed, the sound mingling with the rustle of leaves around them. "I can imagine. My first job was at a library on Hamera. It was quiet, too quiet for me. I always wanted something more lively, more colorful." "As colorful as this garden?" Tom teased, plucking a drifting violet petal from the air and tucking it into Leary's hair. "Just like this," she agreed, her eyes reflecting the myriad hues around them. They spent hours exploring the gardens, losing track of time as they shared stories and discoveries. Eventually, they found a secluded bench surrounded by a cloud of tiny, luminescent insects. Sitting close, Tom turned to Leary, his expression serious. "I've been thinking," he began, hesitating slightly. I feel like we're from different worlds, but when I'm with you, those differences seem insignificant. Leary nodded, her hand finding his. I feel it too, Tom. It's as if our worlds aren't so far apart when we're together. Encouraged by her response, Tom took a deep breath. I want to make this work, Leary. No matter what our cultures say, no matter how different our biological details are, I want to try. And I want that too, Leary replied, squeezing his hand. To explore what this could be, without fear of where it might lead. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden flurry of activity. A group of station security passed by, escorting a rowdy patron from the nearby cafe. The moment passed, and they both chuckled, the tension broken. Guess it's never dull around here, Tom remarked. Never, Leary agreed, her laughter mingling with his. And perhaps, that's what makes it the perfect place for us to start this journey. As the station's day cycle began to dim, signaling the approach of artificial night, they left the garden together, their hearts and hopes intertwined like the vines they had wandered among, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in these uncharted territories. The novelty of their burgeoning relationship led Tom to invite Leary to his apartment for dinner, an evening dedicated to sharing even more of his world with her. Leary, intrigued by human culinary practices, was eager to learn and participate. As Leary stepped into Tom's kitchen, she observed the array of ingredients laid out on the counter. So, what's on the menu tonight? She asked with a playful tilt of her head. Spaghetti carbonara. It's a classic from Earth, simple but delicious, Tom explained, fetching the necessary pots and pans. Have you ever tried cooking before? Not really, Leary confessed, watching closely as Tom filled a large pot with water. Most of my meals are synthesized. This is all quite new to me. Well, you're in for a treat. Cooking is about feeling and experience as much as it is about taste, Tom said, lighting the stove. He handed her a knife and a cutting board. Could you slice the bacon? Just watch your fingers. Leary took the knife, gingerly slicing the bacon into small pieces. Like this? She asked, looking up for approval. Perfect, Tom nodded, dropping the spaghetti into the boiling water. He then showed her how to crack eggs into a bowl, beating them before adding cheese. This is the heart of the dish. They worked side by side, Leary slowly relaxing into the rhythm of chopping and stirring. This is fun, she admitted, smiling at him across the stove. It's very tactile. It's one of the things I miss about Earth, Tom shared, stirring the pasta. Creating something with your own hands, it's rewarding. As the pasta cooked, they began to mix the eggs and cheese, Tom carefully explaining each step. Now, we have to make sure the pasta is just right before we combine everything. It's all about timing. Leary watched as Tom drained the pasta, then quickly mixed in the egg mixture, stirring vigorously. Why the rush? She inquired, curious. If the pasta is too hot, the eggs will scramble. We want it creamy, not clumpy, Tom explained. They both laughed as he mimicked a disaster scenario, waving his hands dramatically. With the dish coming together, they set the table, lighting a couple of small candles Tom had stored away. I didn't know you were such a romantic, Leary teased as she took her seat. There's a lot you don't know about me yet, Tom replied with a grin. Hopefully, there's plenty of time for you to find out. They began to eat, the creamy pasta a hit with Leary. This is delicious, she exclaimed, twirling another forkful. I love the textures and flavors. It's very different from what I'm used to. I'm glad you like it, Tom said, pleased. Food is a big part of who we are. Sharing it feels like sharing part of my life. The conversation drifted to lighter topics, then to their dreams and aspirations. Leary spoke of her desires to explore more of the human sector. Tom expressed his hope to one day show her Earth. As they cleared the dishes and moved to the small living area, Tom turned on some music, a soft jazz number that filled the room with a mellow vibe. Shall we try dancing? Tom asked, offering his hand. I don't know how, Leary admitted, but took his hand anyway. I'll lead. Just follow my steps, Tom instructed gently. They swayed awkwardly at first, but soon found a rhythm. Dancing slowly, Leary rested her head against Tom's chest. This feels nice, she murmured. Yeah, It does, Tom agreed, feeling her warmth against him. The night ended with them sitting together on the couch, talking until the station's night cycle neared its end. Leary yawned, a clear sign of her fatigue. I should let you get some rest, Tom said reluctantly. Leary nodded, standing and stretching. Thank you for tonight, Tom. For the food, the music, and the company. It's been magnetic. Tom smiled, walking her to the door. Let's do this again soon. Let's, Leary agreed, stepping out into the corridor before turning back to give him a quick, soft kiss. Good night, Tom. Good night, Leary. As the door closed behind her, Tom leaned against it, his heart still dancing to the rhythm of the music, resonant with the night's revelations and the promise of more to come. After several weeks of sharing meals and exploring the station together, Tom invited Leary to spend another evening at his place. As the station's artificial sun dipped below the horizon, the mood was set for a night of closer intimacy. Ever since that first night at Zyra's, I've felt like there's something special between us, Tom confessed as he opened the door for Leary, who stepped inside with a nod of agreement. It's not just curiosity anymore, is it? Leary asked, a soft smile playing on her lips as she removed her jacket. No, it's more than that now, Tom said, helping her with her jacket before hanging it up. I feel like we're gravitating towards something significant. As they settled into the living area, the space felt smaller, more intimate with each shared glance and touch. Tom had prepared a small array of snacks and drinks, but the real focus was on their deepening connection. I've been thinking about us, about how different we are, yet how well we fit together, Leary said, picking up a glass and sipping slowly. Tom sat next to her, his gaze intense. I've been thinking the same. It's like we're from different worlds, but when we're together, it feels right. The conversation drifted towards their physiological differences, with Tom expressing curiosity about her home planet's biology. Leary explained the unique aspects of her species, such as their heightened senses and extended lifespan. In terms of relationships, how does it work for your people? Tom ventured cautiously, genuinely curious. Leary chuckled softly, the sound soothing Tom's nerves. Much like humans, I suppose, though we tend to bond for life. It's a deep connection once formed. The thought lingered in the air, weighty and significant. Tom reached out, taking Leary's hand. And what if someone wanted to form that kind of bond with you? Leary's eyes met his, her expression serious yet filled with warmth. Then I would consider it the greatest honor, she said, her thumb caressing his hand. Encouraged by her words, Tom leaned in closer, his heart pounding. Leary, She silenced him with a finger to his lips, then replaced it with a gentle, exploratory kiss. It was a kiss that spoke of possibilities and promises, tender and questioning at first, then deepening as if their souls were searching for common ground. As they pulled away, the need for more was palpable. Standing together, Tom led Leary to his bedroom, the place where no words were needed. They explored each other's forms with a mix of awe and reverence, learning the landscape of alien terrain with touches and kisses. Tom marveled at the soft glow of Leary's skin in the dim light, the way her body responded to his gentle explorations. Leary, in turn, discovered the warmth of Tom's skin, the pulse of life beneath his human surface. In the sanctuary of Tom's room, they finally came together, a mingling of starlight and earth, of breath and being. Leary trembled with pleasure beneath him, a sigh escaping her as they moved together in an ancient dance as old as time itself. Afterward, they lay entwined, the sheets a tangle around them, the quiet of the room enveloping them like a cocoon. That was incredible, Tom whispered, his voice full of wonder. Yes, it was, Leary agreed, her voice equally soft. It's as if our bodies knew how to speak the same language, even if our minds are still learning. They shared a laugh, light and easy, and then silence fell, comfortable and deep. It was a silence filled with mutual understanding and acceptance, as if their bodies and souls had recognized something profound. As sleep began to claim them, Leary nestled closer to Tom, her breath a gentle rhythm against his chest. Tom, she murmured sleepily. Yes, he responded, his arm tightening around her. Thank you for being my universe tonight, she said, the words drifting off as she succumbed to sleep. Tom smiled in the darkness, his last conscious thought one of gratitude for the celestial body beside him, for the universe that had brought them together, and for the night that had changed everything. In the weeks that followed, Tom and Leary's relationship deepened, intertwining their lives beyond the confines of quiet nights and stolen moments. Today, Tom had decided to visit Leary at Zyra's orbit during her daytime rehearsals, a time when the club was subdued, almost unrecognizable without its nocturnal blaze of lights and energy. As Tom stepped through the half-lit corridors of the club, he spotted Leary on the main stage, gracefully practicing her routine. The usual throng of patrons was absent, replaced by a few staff members tuning the stage equipment. Leary noticed him from across the room, her face lighting up as she waved him over. "Tom, I didn't expect to see you here now," she called out, her voice echoing slightly in the empty space. "I wanted to see where you create all that magic," Tom replied with a smile, climbing onto the stage to join her. He glanced around, taking in the high-tech sound systems and holographic projectors. "It's different without all the people. It's peaceful," Leary agreed, walking over to meet him. She took his hand, leading him to a seat near the stage. "I like it during the day. It gives me space to think, to perfect my art." Tom watched as she moved back to the center of the stage, resuming her dance. Her movements were fluid, mesmerizing even without the usual backdrop of music and cheers. "You're amazing," he said when she paused, catching her breath. Leary laughed softly, stepping down from the stage to sit beside him. "I'm glad you think so. I always wonder how it looks to someone who's not used to our forms of expression." "It looks like you were born to do this," Tom assured her, his admiration clear. "But do you ever think about doing something else? Outside of the club, I mean." The question hung in the air as Leary considered it. "Sometimes," she admitted. "I love performing, but being with you has opened up new possibilities. Maybe there's more to life than this stage." Tom's expression turned thoughtful. "What would you want to do? If you could do anything?" Leary's eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and uncertainty. "Explore. Not just space, but life. Different experiences, different cultures. Maybe even help others get a better understanding of each other. There's so much misunderstanding between species. That sounds like a worthy pursuit," Tom said, squeezing her hand. "And selfishly, I'd love to have more of your time." Leary smiled, leaning her head against his shoulder. "That sounds wonderful, but I'd need to find a way to make it work, to transition from here to, well, whatever comes next. We'll figure it out together," Tom said firmly. "I'm with you, whatever you decide." Their conversation drifted to potential plans, exploring ideas and dreams that had remained unspoken until now. The afternoon wore on, the club's atmosphere thick with the potential of new beginnings. As they prepared to leave, Leary paused, turning to Tom with a serious look. "Tom, I want us, to work. But I'm scared. What if it changes everything?" "It will change things," Tom acknowledged, his tone gentle. "But not all change is bad. We're in this together, and that's the most important thing. Whatever changes come, we'll face them as a team." Leary nodded, her fears eased by his words. They left the club hand in hand, stepping into the bustling flow of station life with renewed confidence in their shared future. The walk back to Tom's quarters was quiet, reflective, but as they reached his door, Leary stopped him with a kiss. "Thank you for today, for seeing my world and for sharing yours. I'm ready for whatever comes next." Tom smiled, his heart full. "So am I." As the door closed behind them, the paths of their lives felt more aligned than ever, their orbits drawn together by a gravity that was as powerful as it was intangible. Tom and Leary stood together at the docking bay of the space station, their bags packed and ready at their feet. The giant viewing window showed a busy tableau of ships coming and going, but their focus was on the smaller cruiser that would soon take them away from the life they knew. "You're sure about this?" Tom asked, turning to Leary, who was staring at the cruiser with a mixture of excitement and nervous anticipation. Leary nodded, her hand finding his. "I've never been more sure of anything. It's time for a new adventure, Tom. With you." Tom smiled, squeezing her hand reassuringly. And you're okay leaving Xyrus? It's been a big part of your life. It has, Leary agreed, her eyes not leaving the cruiser. But I'm ready for what's next. Being with you, exploring the galaxy, experiencing new cultures. It's a new kind of performance, one I'm excited to share with you. As they boarded the cruiser, Tom took one last look back at the station. It had been his home for years, a place of routine and comfort, but now it felt too small, too confining for the dreams he and Leary shared. The cabin of the cruiser was compact, but efficient, with a clear view of the stars. They stowed their bags and sat side by side as the ship began its smooth departure sequence. First stop, the Polaris system, Tom said, pulling up a star map on the screen in front of them. They have those floating markets you wanted to see. Leary's eyes lit up. And you're sure we can make a living while we travel? I don't want to run out of credits halfway through. Tom nodded. I've lined up some work repairing transports on Pellara. And with your skills, I'm sure you'll find plenty of opportunities. Maybe even some guest performances. Leary laughed, leaning her head on his shoulder. Maybe. Or maybe I'll find something entirely new to do. Who knows what skills I might pick up out there? The cruiser slipped out of the station's gravity well, and the stars stretched into the familiar lines of hyperspace travel. Inside, the quiet hum of the engine was a soothing backdrop to their conversation. I'm glad we're doing this, Leary said after a moment of silent stargazing. It feels right, you know? Just us, the stars, and an open path. It does, Tom agreed. I never thought I'd be the type to just leave everything behind and go, but with you, it feels like the only sensible thing to do. They talked about the planets they wanted to visit, the alien delicacies they wanted to try, and the festivals they hoped to attend. Each plan was woven with the thread of their togetherness, binding them closer with every shared dream and laughter. As the cruiser made its way through the cosmos, the initial thrill of departure gave way to a deep, contented peace. They had each other and a universe to explore, a vast, beautiful unknown that was theirs to discover together. Tom looked over at Leary, her face bathed in the soft light of the star map, her expression one of serene anticipation. This is going to be an incredible journey, he murmured. Leary turned to him, her hand reaching out to touch his cheek. Yes, it will be. Because no matter where we go, we're together. And that's the most incredible journey of all. Their ship continued on, a small speck against the vast tapestry of space, carrying two souls bound by love and curiosity. As the stars passed by, their future unfurled before them, limitless and bright, a universal embrace that held them gently in its vast expanse.